Commander Vexstar stood before the large viewing screen on the bridge of the Nexus Prime. His 4 eyes studied the blue and green planet that slowly turned below them. The third planet from this yellow star looked beautiful from space, but his instruments told a different story. This world was a killer. "Report," Vexstar said to his science officer. "Sir, the readings are very strange," replied Dr. Nixal, her tentacles moving quickly over the control panels. "This planet shows all the signs of a Class 12 death world. The worst kind we have ever seen." Vexstar's skin changed to a pale yellow color, showing his worry. In all his years serving the galactic hegemony, he had never encountered a Class 12 death world. Most planets that dangerous could not support any life at all. "What makes it so deadly?" he asked. Dr. Nixal pulled up the data on the main screen. "The planet has extreme weather systems. Massive storms that can destroy entire continents. The surface temperature changes from freezing cold to burning hot in different seasons. The star above it sends dangerous radiation. The planet shakes and moves constantly with liquid rock flowing from cracks in the ground." "And the atmosphere?" Vexstar asked. 21% oxygen, sir. That is a highly reactive gas that can cause fires and explosions. Most of the rest is nitrogen. There are also dangerous gases in smaller amounts. The air pressure changes constantly. Water falls from the sky in solid and liquid forms. Sometimes the wind moves so fast it can tear apart buildings. Vexstar shook his head. No wonder this system was marked for basic survey only. Clearly, no intelligent life could exist on such a world. But then Lieutenant Kara, the communications officer, spoke up. "Sir, I am getting some very strange readings from the planet." "What kind of readings? Radio signals, sir?" "And they are not natural. Someone is broadcasting from the surface." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member stopped what they were doing and looked at the communications station. Vexstar felt his heart beating faster. "Are you certain?" he asked. "Yes, sir. The signals show clear patterns. They are definitely artificial, and, sir, there is something else. I am detecting thousands of these signals all across the planet." Vexstar moved to the communications station and looked at the data himself. The evidence was clear. Intelligent life existed on this death world. Not just a few survivors hiding in caves, but what appeared to be a full civilization. "This is impossible," he whispered. At the back of the bridge, a human named Jake Morrison watched the alien crew with interest. Jake had joined the hegemony fleet 6 months ago as part of a new cultural exchange program. He was one of the first humans to serve on an alien ship, though none of the crew knew where he came from originally. His home planet was listed in the records as a Class 2 safe world. Jake smiled as he watched the aliens panic. He knew something they did not know yet. "Sir," Dr. Nixal said, "should we begin standard first contact procedures?" Vexstar thought for a moment. "Yes, but be very careful. Any species that can survive on a Class 12 death world might be extremely dangerous." Lieutenant Kara began broadcasting the standard hegemony first contact message. It was a simple signal that showed peaceful intentions and offered help to any intelligent species that might be struggling to survive. They waited. For 10 minutes, there was no response. Then the communications board lit up with activity. "Sir, we are receiving a response," Kara announced. "Put it on the main speakers," Vexstar ordered. A clear voice filled the bridge. The speaker was using perfect galactic standard language, though with a strange accent. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Lisa Rodriguez of Earth Defense Station Alpha. We welcome you to our solar system. Please identify yourself and state your intentions." The aliens on the bridge looked at each other in shock. The voice sounded calm and confident. There was no fear, no desperation. This was not what they expected from survivors on a death world. Vexstar cleared his throat and activated the communication system. "This is Commander Vexstar of the Galactic Hegemony vessel Nexus Prime. We are conducting a routine survey of this system. We did not expect to find intelligent life here. We have been monitoring your approach for the past 3 days," Captain Rodriguez replied. Your ship design is unfamiliar to us, but we detected your scanning beams. We wanted to see what you would do before making contact. Jake Morrison tried not to laugh. The humans had been watching the aliens the whole time, while the aliens thought they were being careful and secretive. Captain Rodriguez, Vexstar continued, our instruments show that your planet is extremely dangerous. How have your people managed to survive in such conditions? There was a pause before the human captain responded. Dangerous? Earth is our home, Commander. We have lived here for thousands of years. What exactly do you find dangerous about it? Dr. Nixal quickly sent the scan data to the human ship. Captain Rodriguez was quiet for several minutes while she reviewed the information. I see the problem, she finally said. Your instruments are reading our planet as hostile because you come from different types of worlds. What you call dangerous, we call Tuesday. Tuesday? Vexstar asked, confused. It is a human expression, Jake Morrison said quietly, stepping forward. It means something that happens regularly and is not considered unusual. All eyes on the bridge turned to Jake. Vexstar stared at the human crew member with growing understanding. Lieutenant Morrison, Vexstar said slowly, what planet are you from? Jake pointed at the blue world on the screen. Earth, sir. That death world down there is my home? The bridge erupted in shocked voices from a dozen different species. Vexstar held up his hand for silence. Captain Rodriguez, he said into the communicator, we would like to offer assistance to your people. The hegemony can relocate your entire population to safer worlds. Planets with stable climates and peaceful environments where your species can live without constant danger. The response came back immediately. Thank you for the offer, Commander, but we must decline. Earth is our home. We have no intention of leaving. But your planet is trying to kill you every day, Dr. Nixal protested. Captain Rodriguez laughed. The sound confused the aliens even more. Commander, every planet has its challenges. We have learned to work with our world, not against it. Earth has made us strong, resourceful, and united. We would not trade it for all the safe worlds in the galaxy. Vexstar looked at Jake Morrison. Is this true? Do your people really choose to stay on a death world? Jake nodded. Earth is not just our planet, sir. It is part of who we are. The storms teach us to build better homes. The earthquakes teach us to make flexible structures. The dangerous animals teach us to be smart and careful. The changing seasons teach us to plan ahead. We do not see Earth as trying to kill us. We see it as making us better. This is unprecedented, Dr. Nixal whispered. No species in the galaxy chooses to live on a death world. Captain Rodriguez, Vexstar said, we need to report this to Hegemony High Command. A civilization that thrives on a Class 12 death world changes everything we know about intelligent life. We understand, Commander. We will be happy to share information about our world and our people. But we will remain on Earth. This is not negotiable. Vexstar ended the communication and turned to his crew. Set course for the nearest Hegemony base. High Command needs to know about this immediately. As the Nexus Prime turned away from Earth, Jake Morrison looked one last time at his home planet. Soon, the entire galaxy would know about humanity. He wondered how the aliens would react when they learned the full truth about what Earth had created down on the planet below. Billions of humans continued their daily lives, unaware that they had just been classified as the galaxy's most impossible species. 3 weeks after the first contact, a much larger ship arrived in Earth's orbit. The HFY Discovery was twice the size of the Nexus Prime and carried the best scientists in the galactic hegemony. Dr. Krell, the most famous xenobiologist in known space, led the research team. He had studied life on dangerous worlds before, but never anything like this. Dr. Krell stood in his laboratory aboard the Discovery. Looking at the data from Earth, his 6 arms moved quickly as he worked with multiple computer screens at once. The readings still made no sense to him. Assistant Zixara, he called to his aide, double-check these atmospheric readings. The numbers cannot be correct. Zixara, a young scientist with purple skin and large eyes, reviewed the data carefully. Sir, I have checked them 5 times. The readings are accurate. The planet has regular storms that produce electrical discharges powerful enough to destroy our equipment. The wind speeds can reach over 300 kilometers per hour. And the inhabitants live through this? Doctor, Krell asked. Not only do they live through it, sir. According to our observations, they go outside during these storms. Some humans actually seem to enjoy watching them. Dr. Krell's skin turned a pale green color, showing his disbelief. Impossible. No intelligent species would willingly expose themselves to such danger. On Earth's surface, Chief Science Officer Amy Carter was preparing for the alien visitors. She worked at the International Space Center in Florida, coordinating Earth's response to the alien interest in their planet. Amy was a tall woman with brown hair and kind eyes. She had spent most of her career studying other planets, never thinking that aliens would come to study Earth. The alien research team will arrive tomorrow, Amy told her assistant, Dr. Mark Wilson. They want to observe our environment and understand how we survive here, Mark laughed. Survive? We do more than survive. We built cities, developed technology, and created art, all while living on what they call a death world. That is exactly what confuses them, Amy said. They cannot understand how we thrive in conditions that would kill most other species. The next day, Dr. Krell's shuttle landed at the Space Center. The alien scientist stepped out wearing a thick protective suit and carrying multiple scanning devices. His team of 6 researchers followed him, all equally protected and nervous. Amy greeted them at the landing pad. She wore only light clothing and no protective gear. Welcome to Earth, Dr. Krell. I hope you had a pleasant trip. Dr. Krell stared at her through his suit's visor. You are not wearing any protection. The atmosphere readings show dangerous levels of oxygen and nitrogen. The humidity is at 68%. The atmospheric pressure is completely unstable. Amy smiled. This is normal weather for us. Actually, it is quite pleasant today. The temperature is 24 degrees Celsius with a light breeze. Light breeze? Zixara checked her instruments. The wind speed is 15 kilometers per hour. That could knock down a person from my planet. Would you like to start with a tour of our facilities? Amy asked. Or would you prefer to begin with environmental observations? Dr. Krell looked around nervously. Even through his protective suit, he could hear strange sounds. Birds were singing in nearby trees. Insects buzzed through the air. In the distance, he could see humans walking around outside without any protection at all. Let us begin with your research laboratories, he said. I need to understand how you conduct science in such dangerous conditions. Amy led the alien team into the Space Center. As they walked, she explained how the building was designed to withstand hurricanes, earthquakes, and other natural events. Dr. Krell took notes on everything, amazed that humans built their structures expecting disaster. This building can survive winds up to 250 kilometers per hour, Amy explained. We also have backup power systems in case of electrical storms and water pumps for flooding. You expect your buildings to be attacked by your planet? Dr. Krell asked. We plan for natural events, Amy corrected. Storms, floods, earthquakes. They are part of life on Earth. We build accordingly. Inside the laboratory, Amy introduced the aliens to marine biologist Steve Phillips. Steve was a friendly man with gray hair and a relaxed attitude. He had spent his life studying Earth's oceans, which the aliens found terrifying. Dr. Krell, Steve said, shaking the alien's protected hand. Amy tells me you want to understand how life works on Earth. Would you like to see some of our local ecosystem? Dr. Krell's skin turned pale blue. You mean go outside? Into the open environment? Just to the forest preserve next to the Space Center, Steve explained. It is very safe. We can observe plants and animals in their natural habitat. Against his better judgment, Dr. Krell agreed. The alien research team followed Steve and Amy into a wooded area behind the Space Center buildings. For the aliens, it was like entering a nightmare. Trees rose high above them, blocking out the sun and creating shadows everywhere. Strange sounds came from all directions. Small animals moved through the bush. Flying creatures passed overhead. These organisms, Dr. Krell said, pointing at the trees, they appeared to be dying. Steve looked confused. Dying? The trees are healthy. Why do you think they are dying? Look at their extremities, Zixara said, pointing at the leaves. Many are changing colors and falling off. This indicates disease or system failure. Amy and Steve looked at each other and smiled. It is autumn, Amy explained. The trees naturally shed their leaves to prepare for winter. In a few months they will grow new leaves. They die and come back to life? Dr. Krell asked, his voice shaking. Not die, Steve said. They go dormant, sleep in a way. Then they wake up in spring and grow again. Dr. Krell made rapid notes. A planet where plants regularly appeared to die and resurrect themselves was beyond his understanding. As they walked deeper into the forest, the aliens encountered more horrors. They saw insects that could sting and inject poison, plants with thorns that could cut flesh, birds with sharp beaks and claws. How do you survive walking among these dangerous organisms? Zixara asked. Most of them are not dangerous to humans, Steve explained. We have learned to coexist with them. Many are actually helpful. Helpful? How can poisonous creatures be helpful? Steve pointed to a bee collecting nectar from a flower. Bees pollinate plants, which helps our food crops grow. Spiders eat insects that damage our gardens. Even the larger predators help maintain balance in the ecosystem. Dr. Krell stopped walking. Predators? There are predators in this area? Well, yes, Amy said. Bears, wolves, mountain lions, but they generally avoid humans. We rarely have problems with them. The alien scientist's protective suit began beeping warnings as his stress levels increased. You allow predators to live near your population centers? They were here first, Steve said simply. We share the planet with them. As they returned to the Space Center, Dr. Krell's team was quiet and thoughtful. They had seen things that challenged everything they knew about intelligent life and planetarian. That evening, Dr. Krell sent his first report to Hegemony High Command. The humans appear to have developed a form of collective insanity, he wrote. They not only tolerate their planet's attempts to kill them, they seem to enjoy the challenge. They build their cities expecting regular disasters. They walk among predators and poisonous organisms without fear. They live on a world where plants regularly appear to die and resurrect. He paused in his writing and looked out the window of his ship. Below, Earth continued its rotation, completely unaware that it was considered the most impossible planet in the galaxy. Most disturbing of all, Dr. Krell continued, the humans appear to be happy. They laugh, they create art, they form families and communities. They have built a thriving civilization on a world that should have killed them millions of years ago. Dr. Krell finished his report and sent it to the Hegemony. He knew that his findings would cause panic among the galactic community. A species that thrived on a death world was something that had never existed before. Tomorrow he would observe human recreational activities. Amy had mentioned something called camping, where humans deliberately slept outside at night without protection. Dr. Krell was not sure his heart could handle such a revelation. 2 days after the forest incident, a new alien researcher arrived on Earth. Zareth was different from the other scientists. She was an anthropologist who studied how intelligent species lived and worked together. Her job was to understand human society and culture. Zareth had blue skin and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on her face. She was tall and thin, with long arms that ended in delicate hands. Unlike Dr. Krell, she chose to wear lighter protective gear so she could observe humans more closely. She was assigned to work with Dr. Ben Taylor, a human sociologist who worked at the University of Miami. Ben was a middle-aged man with kind eyes and a patient manner. He had volunteered to help the aliens understand human behavior. "Welcome to Miami, Zareth," Ben said as he met her at the airport. "I hope you are ready for an interesting experience." Zareth looked around nervously. The airport was full of humans moving quickly in all directions. Children ran and played while their parents talked and laughed. No one seemed worried or afraid, even though they were living on a death world. "Dr. Taylor," Zareth said, "I have read the reports from Dr. Krell's team. They say humans live in constant danger. But these people seem happy, Ben smiled. We are happy. Earth is our home. We have learned to live with its challenges. As they drove from the airport to the university, Zareth observed the human city. Tall buildings reached toward the sky. Cars moved in organized patterns on wide roads. People walked on sidewalks, shopped in stores, and ate at outdoor restaurants. How is this possible? Zareth asked. Our instruments show that this area is regularly hit by massive storms. Hurricanes, I believe you call them. That is correct, Ben said. Hurricane season runs from June to November each year. We get several major storms during that time. And you just stay here? Where would we go? This is our home. We prepare for the storms and we rebuild afterward if necessary. It is part of life. Zareth H. made notes in her personal recorder. The humans show no fear of regular planetary attacks. They appear to consider deadly storms a normal part of existence. At the university, Ben showed Zareth the Hurricane Research Center. The facility was dedicated to studying and predicting the massive storms that threaten the region every year. This is Dr. Chris Parker, Ben said, introducing Zareth to a weather scientist. He tracks hurricanes and helps communities prepare for them. Chris was an energetic man with short black hair and bright eyes. He seemed excited to meet an alien researcher. Zareth, welcome to Earth, Chris said. Ben tells me you want to understand how we deal with extreme weather. Yes, Zareth replied. I am trying to understand why you stay in areas that are regularly attacked by these hurricanes. Chris looked confused. Attacked? Hurricanes are not attacks. They are weather patterns. Natural events caused by ocean temperatures and atmospheric pressure. But they destroy your cities and kill your people. Sometimes, Chris admitted. But we have learned to predict them days in advance. We evacuate dangerous areas, secure our buildings, and wait for the storms to pass. Then we clean up and continue with our lives. Zareth watched as Chris showed her computer models of approaching storms. The humans had created complex systems to track and predict their planet's dangerous weather. Instead of being victims, they had become active participants in their own survival. Here, Chris said, pointing to a map on his computer screen. We have a hurricane forming in the Atlantic Ocean right now. It should reach our area in about 4 days. Zareth's skin turned pale with fear. A hurricane is coming here. Should we not evacuate immediately? Not yet, Chris said calmly. We need to wait and see what path it takes. If it comes directly toward Miami, we will have plenty of time to prepare. Over the next 3 days, Zareth watched in amazement as the humans prepared for the approaching storm. Instead of panic, she saw organized activity. People boarded up windows, stocked up on food and water, and checked their emergency supplies. Kelly Adams, the city's emergency coordinator, became Zareth's guide during the preparation period. Kelly was a woman in her 40s with gray hair and a calm manner that never seemed to change, even as a deadly storm approached. This will be a Category 3 hurricane, Kelly explained as they visited emergency shelter. Strong, but not the worst we have seen. We expect some flooding and power outages, but nothing we cannot handle. You have done this before? Zareth asked. Many times. I have been coordinating a hurricane response for 15 years. You learn to stay calm and focus on what needs to be done. Zareth observed as Kelly organized evacuation plans, coordinated with police and fire departments, and prepared emergency shelters. The humans showed no signs of stress or fear, even though a storm capable of destroying buildings was heading straight for them. When the hurricane finally arrived, Zareth experienced her first Earth storm from inside the Emergency Operations Center. The wind howled outside at speeds that would tear apart buildings on her home planet. Rain fell so hard it sounded like bullets hitting the windows. Lightning flashed continuously, and thunder shook the entire building, but inside the operations center, humans worked calmly and efficiently. Kelly coordinated rescue teams using radios and computers. Volunteers prepared food for evacuees. Medical staff treated minor injuries. Everyone worked together with a level of cooperation that amazed the alien observer. We have a family trapped. In a flooded house on 10th Street, a radio operator announced. Rescue Team 3, respond to that location, Kelly said immediately. Use the high-water vehicle. Zareth watched in shock as a team of humans drove out into the storm to save people they had never met. They are risking their lives for strangers, she said to Ben, who had stayed with her during the storm. That is what we do, Ben replied. We help each other. The storm is dangerous for everyone, so everyone helps everyone else survive. Throughout the night, Zareth observed human storm response. Teams rescued people from flooded areas. Workers restored power lines while the storm was still active. Volunteers distributed food and water to anyone who needed it. Most incredible to Zareth was the human attitude. Despite facing a planetary disaster, people remained hopeful and determined. They made jokes to reduce stress. They shared food with strangers. They comforted frightened children and elderly people. By morning, the hurricane had passed. Zareth went outside with Ben to see the damage. Trees were down everywhere. Many buildings had lost roofs or windows. Streets were flooded and filled with debris. But already, humans were beginning to clean up. Neighbors helped neighbors clear fallen trees. Construction crews worked to restore power. Children played in the puddles left by the storm. How do you do this? Zareth asked Ben. How do you face such destruction and immediately begin rebuilding? What choice do we have? Ben replied. This is our home. We cannot control the storms, but we can control how we respond to them. We help each other, we rebuild, and we prepare for the next one. That afternoon, Zareth met Matt Johnson, a man who taught rock climbing. Matt was young and athletic, with sun-darkened skin and calloused hands. You want to understand human culture? Matt asked. Come with me tomorrow. I will show you something interesting. The next day, Matt took Zareth to a place called the Everglades. It was a vast wetland filled with dangerous animals and difficult terrain. To Zareth's horror, Matt planned to take tourists there for something called adventure tours. People pay you to bring them to dangerous places? Zareth asked. They want to experience nature, Matt explained. To challenge themselves and see beautiful places that few people visit. Zareth watched as a group of humans followed Matt into the swampy wilderness. They seemed excited rather than afraid. They took pictures of alligators and snakes. They laughed when they got muddy walking through shallow water. On my planet, Zareth told Matt, people avoid danger. They seek safety and comfort. Why do humans deliberately expose themselves to additional risk? Matt thought for a moment. Because that is how we grow. Challenges make us stronger. Beautiful places often require effort to reach. We do not want to live our entire lives in safe, comfortable boxes. That evening, Zareth sent her report to the HFY High Command. The humans have developed psychological adaptations that allow them to thrive under impossible conditions, she wrote. They respond to planetary disasters with cooperation rather than panic. They have created complex systems to predict and survive regular catastrophic events. Most disturbing, they actively seek additional challenges through recreational activities. She paused and looked out at the city of Miami, where lights were coming back on after the hurricane. I believe the humans are not just surviving their death world, she continued. They have been shaped by it into something unique in the galaxy. Their planet has taught them resilience, cooperation, and adaptability that no peaceful world could produce. They are not victims of their environment. They are its partners. The reports from Dr. Krell and Zareth reached HFY High Command 3 weeks after the hurricane observations. Within hours, the news had spread to every major world in the galaxy. The discovery of humans had created the biggest crisis the Galactic Council had faced in over 1,000 years. Council Speaker Morden stood before the massive assembly hall on the capital world of Nexus. Representatives from 847 different species filled the curved rows of seats that stretched up toward the dome ceiling. Each species had sent their best diplomats and scientists to discuss what they were calling the Earth problem. Morden was an ancient being from the first species to achieve space travel. His people were known for their wisdom and careful thinking. He had led the Galactic Council for over 200 years, but he had never faced a situation like this. Fellow beings, Morden began, his voice carrying clearly through the hall's translation system. We gather today to discuss a discovery that challenges everything we know about intelligent life in the universe. A holographic image of Earth appeared above the assembly hall. The blue and white planet slowly rotated as Mordun continued speaking. 3 months ago, our survey teams discovered this world. Initial scans classified it as a Class 12 Deathworld, the most dangerous category in our system. Yet this planet supports not just life, but an advanced civilization of over 8 billion individuals. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the assembly. Even though they had all read the reports, seeing Earth's image made the reality more shocking. The species that lives on this world calls itself humanity, Morden continued. Our researchers have spent weeks studying them. What they discovered will disturb many of you. At that moment, the human delegation entered the assembly hall. Dr. Rachel Stone led the group, followed by Security Chief Tony Martinez and Diplomat Peter Hayes. Rachel was a tall woman with black hair and intelligent eyes. She had spent her career studying alien cultures, never expecting to represent humanity to an entire galaxy. The assembly hall fell silent as the humans walked to their assigned seats. Every alien eye followed them, studying these impossible beings who chose to live on a death world. The humans have agreed to answer questions about their species and their world, Morden announced. Dr. Stone, please tell the assembly about your people. Rachel stood and looked around the vast hall. Hundreds of different alien species stared back at her. Some looked frightened, others curious, and a few seemed angry. Thank you, Council Speaker, Rachel began. My name is Dr. Rachel Stone. I represent the people of Earth. We are honored to meet so many different forms of intelligent life. Dr. Stone, called out a representative from the Zephyrian Empire, our scientists report that your planet regularly tries to kill its inhabitants. How have you survived? Earth does not try to kill us, Rachel replied calmly. Earth is simply a dynamic planet with active weather systems, geological processes, and diverse ecosystems. We have learned to work with these natural forces rather than against them. A delegate from the Crystal World stood up. But your planet has massive storms, earthquakes, and dangerous predators. How can you call this normal? Every planet has its characteristics, Rachel explained. Your crystal worlds have mineral formations that would cut our feet and atmospheric conditions that would poison us. Our ocean worlds would drown your people. We have all adapted to our home environments. This statement caused excited discussion throughout the hall. The aliens had never considered that their own worlds might seem dangerous to other species. Dr. Vextel from the Academic Union asked the next question. Our researchers observed humans deliberately exposing themselves to additional danger for something called recreation. Why do your people seek out more risk when your planet already provides so much? Tony Martinez, the security chief, answered this question. Challenges help us grow stronger and smarter. When we climb mountains or explore dangerous places, we learn about ourselves and our abilities. We become better at solving problems and working together. But this is irrational, protested a delegate from the Peaceful Federation. Intelligent beings should avoid unnecessary risk. Risk and safety are relative concepts, Peter Hayes, the diplomat, replied. What you consider dangerous, we might consider a normal day. What you consider safe, we might find boring or limiting. The questions continued for hours. The aliens asked about human responses to natural disasters, their willingness to live in dangerous areas, and their strange habit of helping strangers during emergencies. Finally, a representative from the Security Alliance stood up. Admiral Corks was a large, heavily armed being whose species had conquered many worlds through military force. Council Speaker, Admiral Corks said, these humans are clearly a dangerous anomaly. They thrive in conditions that would destroy normal civilizations. They actively seek conflict and challenge. They show no proper fear of death or disaster. I propose that we quarantine their world immediately to prevent contamination of peaceful galactic society. Many delegates voiced their agreement. Fear was spreading through the assembly as they imagined humans bringing their death world mentality to other planets. The Security Alliance offers to establish a military blockade around Earth, Admiral Corks continued. We will prevent any humans from leaving their world and spreading their dangerous attitudes throughout the galaxy. Rachel Stone stood up quickly. Admiral Corks, humanity has no desire to force our way of life on other species. We simply want to be part of the galactic community and share knowledge and friendship with other intelligent beings. How can we trust beings who are clearly insane? Demanded a delegate from the Comfort Worlds. You live on a planet that kills thousands of your people every year, and you call it home. You expose yourselves to additional danger for fun. This is not normal behavior, the hall erupted in arguments. Some species supported quarantining Earth. Others wanted to study humans more carefully. A few suggested relocating humanity to safer worlds whether they wanted to move or not. Morden called for order, but the debate continued to rage. The hegemony had never faced a species that challenged their basic understanding of intelligent life. Dr. Yelan from the Science Collective proposed a different solution. Perhaps we should test these humans. Relocate a small group to one of our safe worlds and observe them. If they can adapt to normal conditions, we will know they can be integrated into galactic society. And if they cannot adapt? Asked Admiral Corks. Then we will know they are too dangerous to be allowed free movement in the galaxy. Rachel Stone felt anger rising in her chest. We are not laboratory animals to be tested. We are intelligent beings with the right to choose our own destiny. Rights are earned through proper behavior, Admiral Corks replied. Your species has not proven that it can behave rationally. Tony Martinez stepped forward, his military bearing evident. Admiral, humanity has survived and thrived for thousands of years. We have built great cities, developed advanced technology, created art and literature, and formed peaceful societies. How is this not rational behavior? You have done all of this while living on a death world, Admiral Corks said. This proves that you are either incredibly lucky or dangerously adapted to conflict and crisis. The debate continued late into the galactic day. Some delegates proposed forced relocation of humanity. Others suggested complete isolation of Earth. A few wanted to study humans as scientific curiosities. Dr. Stone listened to species after species, discuss humanity as if they were a problem to be solved rather than people to be welcomed. She began to understand that the galaxy was not ready for humans who refused to be victims of their environment. Council Speaker, Rachel finally said, may I address the Assembly one more time? Morden nodded, and the hall fell quiet. You fear us because we are different, Rachel said. You cannot understand how we live on Earth because you have never faced the challenges that shaped us. But our differences could benefit everyone. We have learned to predict and survive disasters. We have developed technologies that work in extreme conditions. We have created social systems that help people cooperate during emergencies. She paused and looked around the hall. You see our world as trying to kill us. We see it as teaching us to be strong, adaptable, and united. Perhaps the galaxy needs what Earth has taught us. Admiral Corks stood up again. The Security Alliance calls for an immediate vote. We propose establishing a military quarantine around Earth until the human threat can be properly assessed. As delegates began to vote, Rachel realized that humanity's first contact with galactic civilization might also be their last chance for peaceful integration. The vote was too close to predict, and Earth's future hung in the balance. The vote was about to begin when alarms started blaring throughout the council building. Emergency lights flashed red as Speaker Morden received an urgent message on his communication device. His ancient face turned pale as he read the information. Council members, Morden announced, his voice shaking. I have just received word of a massive solar event in the Outer Rim. A Class 9 solar flare has erupted from the star in the Kepler system. The radiation wave will hit the colonies there in 18 hours. The assembly hall erupted in panicked voices. The Kepler system contained 4 major colonies with over 50 million inhabitants. A Class 9 solar flare would destroy all electronic systems and kill anyone caught outside protective shelters. Admiral Corks stood up immediately. The Security Alliance will begin emergency evacuation procedures. All available ships will be sent to the Kepler system. Admiral, called Dr. Yalan from the Science Collective, our evacuation ships cannot operate in solar flare conditions. The electromagnetic radiation will disable all standard hegemony technology. Then what do you suggest? Admiral Corks demanded. Dr. Yalan looked helpless. I do not know. We have never faced a crisis like this before. Our colonies are built on peaceful worlds. We have no experience with extreme environmental disasters. Rachel Stone stood up slowly. All eyes in the assembly turned to her. Speaker Morden, may I offer humanity's assistance? The hall fell silent. Admiral Corks stared at the human diplomat. With suspicion? What could your primitive species possibly do to help? We have experience with electromagnetic storms and radiation events, Rachel replied calmly. Earth's magnetic field sometimes fails to protect us from solar flares. We have developed technology and procedures to survive them. Tony Martinez stepped forward. Admiral, our military systems are designed to work during electromagnetic pulse events. Our communication equipment uses hardened electronics that can function even during severe solar storms. This is impossible, protested a delegate from the technical worlds. No technology can operate during a Class 9 solar flare. Engineer Linda Cooper, who had been quietly observing from the human delegation, spoke up. With respect, delegate, that is only true for standard galactic technology. Human systems use different principles because we had to develop them for survival on Earth. Speaker Morden looked at the human engineer with new interest. Ms. Cooper, are you saying your people can actually help with this crisis? Yes, sir, Linda replied confidently. But we will need to work quickly and we will need full cooperation from your technical teams. Dr. Yalan looked skeptical. Even if your technology works, how can you possibly reach the Kepler system in time? The radiation wave will arrive in 18 hours, Rachel turned to the assembly. We need to suspend the quarantine vote and work together to save those colonies. 50 million lives are more important than political debates. Admiral Corks's military training took over. Despite his distrust of humans, he could not ignore a crisis this large. What do you need from us? Access to your fastest ships and your technical personnel, Linda said. We also need detailed information about the colonies and their current protective systems. Within 2 hours, a joint human-alien task force was assembled aboard the hegemony's fastest vessel. Linda Cooper worked alongside alien technician Veltar to modify the ship's communication and navigation systems. She showed him how to shield electronic components and create backup systems that could survive electromagnetic interference. Your methods are very different from ours, Veltar observed as he watched Linda work. You design everything expecting it to be attacked. Not attacked? Linda corrected. Challenged. On Earth, we learn that technology must be robust enough to work when everything goes wrong. Meanwhile, psychologist Carl Bennett was working with alien refugees who were fleeing the outer colonies. Many of the aliens were experiencing panic, attacks and mental breakdowns. They had never faced environmental disasters before and did not know how to cope with the stress. Dr. Bennett, said a young Zephyrian scientist named Kixara, I cannot stop shaking. My people have never faced anything like this. How do we survive when our technology fails? Carl sat down beside her and spoke in a calm voice. First, take deep breaths. Panic uses energy that you need for thinking clearly. On Earth, we have learned that disasters are temporary. They seem overwhelming when they happen, but they always end. But what if we cannot save everyone? Then we save as many as we can, Carl replied. You focus on what you can control, not on what you cannot. Help the people near you, work with your team. Do not try to solve the entire problem by yourself. Dr. Krell, the xenobiologist who had first studied Earth, watched Carl work with the alien refugees. The human's calm attitude in the face of disaster amazed him. Where the aliens saw a hopeless catastrophe, the humans saw a problem to be solved. As their ship approached the Kepler system, the solar radiation began interfering with standard equipment. One by one, the alien communication systems failed. Navigation. Computers shut down. Even basic life support systems began having problems, but the human-modified systems continued working. Linda's hardened electronics operated normally despite the increasing electromagnetic interference. Her backup communication system maintained contact with the endangered colonies. "This is incredible," Veltar said as he monitored the human equipment. "Your systems are actually getting stronger signals as we get closer to the radiation source. We designed them to use the electromagnetic energy rather than fight against it," Linda explained. "Sometimes the best way to survive a storm is to learn to sail with it." They reached the first colony with 6 hours to spare before the radiation wave arrived. The colony's protective systems had already failed, leaving 2 million inhabitants completely vulnerable. Linda and Veltar worked together to install emergency shielding around the colony's power grid. They used principles that humans had developed for protecting Earth cities during solar storms. Meanwhile, Carl Bennett helped organize the evacuation of people from the most dangerous areas. He worked with Colony Administrator Nexler to establish emergency shelters and coordinate rescue teams. "Dr. Bennett," Nexler said, "my people are trained for peaceful conditions. They do not know how to respond to emergencies." "That is fine," Carl replied. "We will teach them. Start with simple tasks. Give everyone something specific to do. People handle crises better when they feel useful." Carl organized the aliens into teams. Some gathered emergency supplies. Others helped move elderly and sick individuals to safer locations. A few worked on backup communication systems. "You are treating this like a normal event," Nexler observed. "For humans, this is a normal event," Carl said. "We face emergencies regularly on Earth. The key is to stay calm, work together, and focus on solutions rather than problems." When the radiation wave finally hit, the human-designed systems held. The colonies survived with minimal damage and no loss of life. The hardened electronics continued working throughout the solar storm, maintaining communication and life support. After the crisis passed, the Joint Task Force returned to the Council world. The assembly hall was quiet as Speaker Morden addressed the delegates. "The humans have demonstrated abilities that we did not know existed," he announced. "Their experience with environmental disasters allowed them to save 50 million lives. Perhaps we have been looking at this situation incorrectly." Admiral Cork stood up, but his attitude had changed completely. "Speaker, I withdraw the Security Alliance proposal for quarantine. The humans have proven that their unusual background provides valuable capabilities." Dr. Yilan from the Science Collective agreed. "I propose that we establish Earth as a center for emergency response training. Other species could learn from human experience with crisis management." Over the following months, the relationship between humanity and the galactic community transformed completely. Instead of being seen as dangerous anomalies, humans became valued specialists in disaster response and crisis management. Earth established the Galactic Emergency Response Training Center. Aliens came from across the galaxy to learn human techniques for surviving extreme conditions. They studied human psychology, technology, and social systems that had been developed for life on a death world. Captain Lisa Rodriguez was promoted to Director of Interspecies Crisis Management. She oversaw training programs where alien species learned to think and act like humans during emergencies. Commander Vextar, the alien who had first discovered Earth, completed a full survival training course under human instructor Jack Williams. As he struggled through a simulated Earth thunderstorm, he finally understood what made humans special. "It is not that you survive your death world," Vextar told Jack after the training ended. "It is that your death world taught you to never give up. You face problems that would destroy other species, and you find ways to not just survive, but to help others survive too." Jack smiled and looked up at the sky where alien ships now regularly visited Earth. "I guess every planet teaches its children something different. Earth taught us that there is always a way through as long as you work together and never stop trying." The galaxy had learned that being different was not always dangerous. Sometimes it was exactly what everyone needed.